Welcome to tomorrow.
Google, Amazon, Microsoft, and IBM are developing the technology of the future. They are proceeding according to the dominant paradigm of progress with a capital P, the offensive juggernaut that never slows down to consider its real-time effects. This notion of progress that plows over anybody and anything that stands in its way. These software and technology giants are creating what futurists and technocrats refer to as the cloud. DigitalTrends.com asserts that Facebook and Twitter provide a cave-era look at cloud computing. The cloud will swiftly and drastically impact human interaction and day-to-day life. Technocrat Zuman Wadia speaks zealously of the cloud. The technologies that actually alter our lives will happen at the periphery of the cloud, he says. Technologies such as flexible and extensible displays, 4G and 5G wireless communications, wireless HD streaming, more computing capability on smartphones, better mobile operating systems, and nano and microscale sensors. Tech language. But what does this really mean for you? Cool video games and micro smartphones that you can carry around on your keychain? Sounds fresh, right? What about virtual restaurants where cross-national dinners are possible? You won't have to actually order dinner or consume any calories, but virtual reality and microsensor devices will simulate neurological impulses that allow you to taste the food, absorb the atmosphere of a posh would-be restaurant, smell your friend's cologne, all without actually being there in person. Are you too busy to deal with the details of business life? Imagine your own sexy holographic friend, your dream girl, who micromanages those details for you. That is, if you're privileged enough to not have time for paying bills, booking your own flights, those sort of things. Are you too tired to go out for a singles night on the town? No worries. Your holographic friend, measurements 36, 24, 36, built to your virtual specifications, can keep you company. She can even provide you with the intimate companionship you may not get at the club, thanks to state-of-the-art microsensors, telepresence devices, and active skin. Active skin is basically an interface to the human nervous system, which will allow printed electrons to communicate with capillaries and nerve endings and thereby manipulate and manufacture feelings and sensations. These technologies will allow one to artificially feel or sense things in places in which you are not actually present. Imagine going for a summer hike in the woods, looking down at the rocks that your hiking shoes narrowly miss, feeling the sun on your skin, mesmerized by the way the late afternoon sun hits the trees. If you are of the privileged class, you may not need to, or even want to, actually do that in 2020. Through some combination of virtual headsets, artificial technology, telepresence, and body simulation devices, you will be able to take a walk in the forest, or take a run on the Brooklyn Bridge, maybe even shed a few calories without ever leaving your couch. Artificial intelligence to match artificial meals. In 2020, all meat on corporate supermarket shelves and all burgers served in fast food restaurants will come from cloned animals. Cloned meat and milk already hit the shelves in 2010, but you wouldn't know it if you ate or drank cloned animal matter because there are no labeling requirements. If you're concerned with the health or morality standards of eating cloned meat from animals that do not live natural lives, your best bet is to eat organic. But Walmart and other large corporations are spending a lot of money right now, lobbying governments to reduce organic meat and produce standards so they can undercut the market with cheap semi- or non-organic products that they will label organic. Speaking of corporate influence, many corporate crops are now monocropped to support agribusiness growth and maximize corporate profits. Monocropping is the process of continually growing the same crop on the same plot of land, year after year, without crop rotation. This process is very profitable in the short term, but it depletes the soil of nutrients and eventually makes the crop's growth dependent on pesticides and artificial fertilizers. Additionally, and partly due to the monocropping of food, several crops, including soybeans, corn, and tomatoes, are sold in genetically modified forms, often without being labeled as genetically altered. By 2015, many genetically altered fruits, vegetables, and grains will be sold in supermarkets worldwide. On some level, this means that many of the world's people have been eating and will increasingly eat food that is to varying degrees unnatural or fake. Physically, genetically, and synthetically manipulated bodies are on par with food trends. Plastic surgery experts predict that the use of plastic surgery will be the norm in 2020. By the year 2020, no one will ask you whether you've had aesthetic surgery. They will ask you why you didn't have aesthetic surgery, predicts Sander Gilman, a University of Chicago professor who has studied the history of plastic surgery. Biotechnology will allow plastic surgeons to decrease the possibility of error, decrease costs and inconvenience, and thereby help to increase demand and access to an artificial, synthetic body. Stem cell surgery will become routine for plastic surgery operations. Gene therapy injections will be normal, replacing collagen implants. Parents will take advantage of genetic modification options to tailor their baby's physical characteristics to their likings. Under these conditions, it is not difficult to imagine a world in which there is double, or even triple, the amount of inequality and social division that now exists in the world. Humans living what used to be considered a natural life will form a permanent underclass that is considered less intelligent, less capable, and less beautiful. A small but profitable class of cyborgs will enjoy access to artificial pleasures that were once possible only in science fiction films. The rest of the world populace will remain meagerly connected, either by choice or by force, wishing that they were at the top, cursing, damning, and killing people to get there. In a sense, the world will be much like it is now, only more mechanized and further divorced from any natural state of existence on planet Earth. Planet Earth. This inequitable cloud of connectivity already exists. Google applications and smartphone apps are basically the first look at the cloud. The cloud is currently confined to your laptop or smartphone, but futurist and business advisor Dr. James Canton predicts that people will soon wear digital devices, like the ones that Nokia is currently developing. By 2015, many socialites and jet-setters will wear their phones, thanks to synthetic skin technology. Sensory nodes will alert the wearer to calls, text, and email messages. The watch/phone will also fold out into a portable computer device. Such digital devices will subsequently be followed by an era of technological devices implanted into the skin. Microchip skin implantations would, after all, allow product users to rely on cloud access points and self-replicating nodes that would exist virtually anywhere and everywhere in the cloud. People will be able to carry all their data on smaller and smaller devices that will eventually be hands-free. Before 2020, a person will theoretically be able to carry all their data inside of the body through the implanted microchip device. That implanted device could allow the user to connect to the cloud at government buildings, Starbucks coffee shops, Barnes & Noble bookstores, and other commercial establishments via large 3D touchscreens. Cloud users would be able to engage in complex multitasking and artificial interactions with programmed holograms, and also with cyborg cloud users from across the world. You've seen versions of this reality in science fiction movies. The technology is already possible, just not yet accessible to the mainstream. Imagine now if you could see the radio waves that transmit your favorite hip-hop radio show to your FM car stereo or XM radio. Or if you could see the waves that allow you to access the internet wirelessly from your laptop or your mobile phone. You may not be able to see the cloud, but it isn't hard to imagine. When it comes, the global cloud will be inescapable, omnipresent. You will not find the cloud. The cloud will find you. Cloud access points will exist everywhere, the way that Wi-Fi access points and cell phone networks proliferate social life today. The cloud will engulf the air, the way that smog and harmful chemicals from years of environmental toxification now cloud the skies of most major cities. Technological cloud pollution will affect everybody's day-to-day lives. cloud pollution will be a hot-button social, cultural, and political issue in 2020, the same way that immigration issues, gay rights issues, and drug legalization will dominate news headlines between the years of 2011 and 2015. These technological changes have already been mapped out for you, the consumer. In the business world of tomorrow, you are also a product with an assigned number, your location and personal data always accessible. This is not something to fear, but something to embrace in the name of progress. Such is the perspective of Jeff Arnold, founder of health portals ShareCare and WebMD. Through technology, Mr. Arnold sees huge potential for improvement in the medical field. Arnold is a futurist who believes that the mobile device will be the key to healthcare in 2020. Like many technocratic futurists, his arguments sound very logical, very rational, while his language is coded in cyborg rhetoric. Arnold discusses the importance of connectivity and accessibility between patients and their doctors, healthcare providers, and lab technicians. He assures that technology will eradicate diseases and create more informed healthcare customers. In order for this to happen, Dr. Arnold explains that mobile devices will take real-time information and analysis from the body, which will instantly be sent to healthcare managers. Stop and think about that for a moment. How can a mobile device take real-time info from the body unless it can receive input from the body? The way we input USB devices into our desktops and laptops in order to access information. Vint Cerf, the founder of the internet, also talks about a future of computing devices that will accept input from humans in a way that other humans can, only with faster processing and more intelligence. If the consumer or the patient embraces this revolution, Dr. Arnold says, the sky is the limit. The point is that there is no limit to the branding of human beings as cyborgs or machines. There's no limit to the idea that people are nothing more than interconnected products or streams of information in an interconnected cloud of data. There's no limit to the manipulation of the Earth's natural processes or the Earth's natural resources in order to maximize profit. This vision for the future presents us with a technological reality that offers little connection to our natural reality. This technological vision for tomorrow essentially boils down to life in a bubble, a shell of reality, doctored up and continually repackaged as the next best thing, the next step towards progress, the only way forward. The future is being constructed through the lens of investment capital, big money, corporate profit margins, and powerful think tanks that are incredibly well funded. We're talking about the Brookings Institution, Council on Foreign Relations, the American Heritage Institute, the Heritage Foundation, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the RAND Corporation, the Institute for National Strategic Studies. This list of national and international think tanks goes on and on. These institutes, their board members, the people who fund them, they think in terms of paradigms, revolutions, setting national and global agendas, social engineering, shaping the future. They have a solid plan for tomorrow. The question is, what is your plan for the future? Do your brothers and sisters have plans? What about your homies? What are their visions for the future? Beyond pipe dreams of getting it in and doing it big, with green stacks of money and mansions. Beyond a job and a nice car and a plasma TV. None of which is bad, by the way. But what is your agenda for tomorrow? What kind of world do you envision for yourself in 2020? What vision of reality do you wish to pass on to your seeds, to the next generation? I know it's heavy. Nobody wants to deal with this. But this is what we are faced with. Because yesterday a lot of our elders forgot to think about us. Not all of them, but many. Neglect, greed, self-absorption, and abandonment. This is our recent history, but it doesn't have to be our destiny. Right now, in this moment, whose lead do you follow? Whose agenda will you invest in? Is it yours?